What's going on, everybody? I'm Keith, host of Just Our Thoughts with the Fellas, where 4 to 5 of my brothers give their perspective on national as well as local news. We touch on some trending hot topics as well as culturally relevant news. We also get a chance to dive into some deep core conversations. Check us out live every other Monday at 7 p.m. You can find us on Just Our Thoughts on YouTube live, as well as Just Our Thoughts fan page on Facebook. Also, please don't forget to follow us on IG, JOT with the Fellas. What up, what up, what up? What's going on, everybody? What up?
Hey.
Hey. What's going on? Happy New Year.
Yes, sir. We're in the new year.
Happy New
We
Year.
are in the new year. Happy New Year. How's everybody's New Year?
Happy New Year.
Yes.
It was good.
It was good.
I was asleep by 10 o'clock. I ain't even gonna I was asleep by 10 o'clock, you know.
Meek, I woke up at 11:53. Watched 2 football games. And then fell asleep on the second one and woke up at 11:53.
That's what you
Man,
posted.
I forgot about those joints. But yeah, I stayed up all night. I think I made it back home a little after 2. And I still didn't go to sleep till like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning.
I need you to know that I am thoroughly impressed with anybody that first and foremost made it up to see the ball drop. And then secondly, you were still hanging out to chit and chat.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
You impressed? Shakur, what you get into, man?
I took the family to Hard Rock in Philly. We had dinner there.
Okay.
And then we came. That was about 8:30 p.m. Got home about 10. And we watched CNN, Anderson Cooper and Andy Cohen cutting up. They couldn't drink this year on CNN.
And I was so sad about that.
But they had edibles in their pocket.
Did
they? Yeah.
But wait.
I saw Don Lemon miss the whole ball drop.
Ball drop because he was picking it to back that ass up.
Yes, he did.
So I love him. I love him so much. But how he missed the whole ball drop. Sorry, Nola. Like, it was really backing that ass up and missed the whole thing.
He did. They showed him shaking his butt in New Orleans and missed the ball drop.
He had a good time.
So I hung up. We hung up until about maybe 2:30, and we woke up maybe 11 o'clock that following morning. But I'm thankful, man, that we made it in.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what time we took it down. Jeez. Yeah. It was one of them days, just laying in the house, just watching TV, went out, grabbed something to eat, came home, and we was just chilling, man, just relaxing.
So what is it? It's just it don't feel like it used to back in the day. You just don't have that feeling of like to be up and celebrate and to go out. You just don't have that feeling anymore.
I'm just a woman of a particular age. I'm a woman of a particular age.
Well, we know that the way you waving yourself in there.
Right here. So y'all already know when it starts, I'm gonna start.
Yes.
Y'all know I'll be in the bed by 8, contrary to popular belief, because my my social media would have people think I really be out in the streets. And I do.
Yes.
2 and 6.
Yes. Because Tamika, I see you on social media living your best life.
Yes, during the daytime, between 2 and 6 hour and brunch hours. Absolutely. Anything after that is downhill from there. Even when I'm at the casino, it's just like about 10:30, 11 o'clock. It's like I'm sleeping. I won't go to bed. And I've learned to lean into rest. I take naps every day. I lean into resting, man. I listen to my body. So and good times don't owe me nothing. So
me and EB talk about that. Me and EB talk about, we compare naps all for decades. We talk about our naps, how long the naps were, what was the nap like, was there any noise, was there any white noise, did anybody wake you up, was there any disturbance? We talk about naps all the time. We'll call each other just to share how good of a nap we just took.
Where do y'all find the time to nap, though?
You got to plan it.
As soon as I come,
you got to plan the nap.
Hell
yeah! As soon as I come in the house, y'all know my commute is an hour and a half. I come in the house, I drop my stuff. I can't talk to nobody. I go straight upstairs, strip, and I take a nap. My girls,
when you come home from work, you nap.
I nap every day.
Wow.
Even when I work from home at 4:30, by 4:45, I am back in my pajamas taking a nap.
Now,
KD, don't
I
forget.
applaud you.
Don't forget.
That can get
Me got adult children. She has adult children too.
And then there's that. Asante is 29 and Muffy is 36, and I don't have any.
Okay.
Look,
damn,
even
she's 36.
No, we get our grandbabies every Saturday. They know when my mom go upstairs to take a nap. Don't bother my mom. My mom gonna go upstairs and take a nap. I'll be back.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Hey, we talk about age when she say mama.
I got 3 grandbabies, 5, 6, and 12. So
Wow.
Yeah.
For we want to welcome everybody to Just Our Thoughts.
I know,
if you
don't know.
No, that's what we do though. We jump into conversation.
I'm excited to be hanging out with the fellas because y'all my fellas for real though. Like real talk, y'all my fellas, y'all my dudes. I love y'all like a fat kid loves cake. So I'm actually excited. When Keith asked me, I was just like, I'm off on Monday because I'd have been asleep right now. But I was like, I'm off on Monday.
You'd have been taking your nap right now.
I wake up about 8:00 for my TV shows. I'm a straight old head. I'll be off, and when I was thinking, I said, they my dudes for real. This ain't
like for real,
formative. Y'all my dudes. For real.
So usually you be napping during our shows, then, huh?
I do. That'd be the problem.
Hit the replay. Just do #replay.
Yeah, I'm good for a replay.
All right.
Yeah,
we know you watch us.
We appreciate you. For those that don't know, Tamika Chester is joining us tonight on Just Our Thoughts with the Fellas.
Hey, thank you for having me.
You already can tell she got the friendship is already there, relationship history is already there with us. So we appreciate Tamika for joining us here on Just Our Thoughts with the Fellas.
Hey, hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Yes.
Where we talk about
pleasure.
Yes. National, current news, local news, trending topics, culturally relevant topics, and we have some discussions. We certainly have some guests here. And tonight, a special guest, Tamika Chester. Thank you, my sister.
I love you guys. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
The one thing I thought about when we're putting this together was your perspective on things. You're unapologetically just truthful, and you speak your mind. And you say things. You have different ways to say things. You say things with grace. You say things in a way where people need to hear it at that time. And I think you meet people where they need. Where they need to be met. So that's the one thing, I appreciate about you and having the many conversations you've just had with me. And I ain't even talking about with Ward and KD and EB. You know what I mean? So I certainly appreciate you for joining us. And on this topic tonight, where we talk about the final chapter, the Best Man final chapter, I certainly wanted to get, Tamika's input, her insight. From a female's perspective, we could go one way, and we also look at the other side, but you could go deeper than us, So we wanted to appreciate. Would you say we'll see?
We'll see.
You'll definitely add something to this.
Yeah, I do want to say I do tune into Wild's Worldwide when the Divas Den is airing. Because when the Divas Den is airing, you hear so many opinionated, intelligent, charismatic Black women. Yeah. And when Tamika takes the podium, she really is a sounding board for a lot of what the women want to hear. All right, because you don't hear nothing but an amen from the other sisters with Tamika. I'll take that. So when she comes on when the Divas Den's on, all the women on there are incredible, but it's beautiful to hear Tamika, Alyssa, and the other sisters that are on that show and their perspective on things. So we want to hear you tonight because I got questions.
Shit. All right. Well, hold on. Let me take another sip of my shot. Wait a minute.
There you go.
Don't get too hot now. Don't get too hot.
She got her fan next to her. She got her fan next to her.
Right here.
She got her fan. So a few.
You got some comments up there. I know. Make sure you.
Yeah. We get to them. So a few weeks ago, we as we all know, right before the holiday, the Christmas holiday, New Year's holiday, began, the best man, the final chapters dropped. It dropped on Peacock, and it was a series versus
December 22nd.
Yeah, December 22nd versus being a movie. We remember The Best Man came out, I want to say in 99. Then The Best Man Holiday came out with an all-star studded cast.
2013, yeah.
2013, The Best Man Holiday?
Yeah.
Okay. It was an all-star cast. Really? It was only 4 years. I thought it was much much longer than that. 4 years after. No, that wasn't 4 years. I'm sorry. My math is wrong.
About
14 then.
Yeah,
about 14.
I think he's been trying to do increments like that, but yeah.
So as we know, and it came out with a cast that we, we kind of not just say grew up with, but they're around our age. They're around our age.
So grew up with them though through their movies and television. We kind of did grow up with them for real.
Brown Sugar.
Yeah. Love Jones. Nia and Love Jones.
First fall in love with hip hop.
Yes. Loving basketball.
Yes.
Yeah. So I just want to get your thoughts. There's been a lot that's been said in our culture. And I got a question later for y'all, about the culture, when it comes to movies like this. So, I kind of wanted to get your thoughts, your overall thoughts first, Ward. If you don't mind sharing your overall thoughts first of The Best Man final chapter.
Well, let me see. When I watched the first episode, my initial thought was, this is kind of corny. But as I watched it, it got better. They touched on a lot of things that I felt as though, they touched on a lot of things. One, I always say, why do we always have to always put the homosexual aspect in our shows?
That wasn't in the first one, was it?
But he
wasn't. It wasn't in the first episodes, no.
Okay.
But he wasn't a homosexual. It wasn't that he was
but
he was
still,
non-binary. There's a difference.
Non-binary. Okay.
Non-binary, that's different.
Yeah. So let's get to that. But tell me your first thoughts.
He was confused, but that's all right.
Let's get to your thoughts of the show overall.
I thought it was cool. I actually liked it, but there was one aspect I thought they could have changed how Lance reacted instead of always being the last to know, and then his anger shows, and they always make it like he's just an angry black man when it comes to that.
Liz, hey Liz, sorry y'all. Hey Liz, hey Zuni, hey Mika. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, y'all. I just seen him.
KD, what you got, man? What's your initial thoughts, man?
Man, I thought it was well written from the first to the last episode, man. The characters, Terrence Howard, he just. He's a great actor. I kind of followed him at first because first the focus was on Terrence and his marriage. And then, him not really being genuinely or really having that love that he had for the new wife that he had for Shelby. To kind of see all that kind of break the ice of the show. And then it just moved on to the other characters to show the dynamics of where they are right now. I thought it was really well written to kind of bring us up to speed. It took us back, to 2013, and it was building us up to the years, and then they brought us ahead. But it was dope to kind of see how they evolved, how they changed, the men and the women, the family life, the struggles in the different marriages and things of that nature.
Absolutely.
And a lot of relatable topics, that I know if I can relate to almost a handful of them. I know everybody could that's me. That's me. What I've dealt with. That's kind of what I'm dealing with, and it was, up until the last episode, Tamika, where it was just the challenges, the emotion, the things that were said at the end, how ugly it got for a second. All that stuff is so real. And I enjoyed it. I was hoping for that they would do a second season, but I don't think so. I don't think so. Unless it's 10 years later. But
No straight up, it ain't gonna happen. But if it happens, it'll be a spinoff with the kids. But
and you know what's crazy is
said
that
he did what he was supposed to do when he put some characters to rest, and that's it.
He did.
Yeah, Meek, what you think, Meek?
But one thing, one of Murch's daughters is from the area, and she's actually Stephen A. Smith's daughter.
Really, one of the actresses?
One of the little girls that played Murch's daughter.
Okay.
Yeah, the one that had a lot of anxiety. That's Stephen A. Smith's daughter. Yeah.
Okay. I thought that it was a beautiful love letter to the fans. I felt that they did it very well. And they stayed true to the franchise, right? So the best man holiday. I felt like I really appreciated the growth of all the characters. However, take that shot down. Oh no, Lissy, I gotta make it through the show, so I'm going to skip it. Thank you very kindly. But what I loved about it was, so all of the characters evolved, right? But at the core of who they were, they also reverted back to who they were. So, like, if you go back to who they were when it started with the best man, and even though they evolved, when they were going through their different, trials and tribulations, they reverted right back to who they were originally. Because no matter how much you grow, when you're triggered, you are going to revert back to what you know best, right? So Lance is always going to revert back to being angry as hell, but then he gonna, he gonna figure it out. He gonna seek the Lord.
He gonna seek the Lord.
He gonna figure it out.
He gonna get down on his knees. He gonna seek the Lord. Get that
prayer. Like, Lord help me. You know what I mean? Same thing with Taye Diggs' character. Harper. He was an asshole the whole time. Harper has always been an asshole. Harper was an asshole in the first one. He was an asshole in the second one. I don't even know why Robin married him from the door, but we all do shit like that. So he was through the entire series. You know what I mean? Murch, he probably evolved the most because he faced his fears. And I love the fact that he was completely vulnerable and transparent with hating being the one seen as the simp.
So you know
what I mean? Like, it was like he was the simp of the group. Now, who was consistent though? That damn
Quentin.
I love Shelby so much. I tend to gravitate toward people who are just unapologetically themselves, and then you can deal with them however you want to deal with them. But anyway, I thought it was a beautiful way to end that series out. I say thank you to the creators, because that was dope. And a lot of times people will bring and reboot something and you'd be like, why they mess with that? They should have left it alone. But nah, that was beautiful. And I really I loved it. I did. It was a lot of it was predictable, but I still enjoyed the Black Joy. So
I can say I really enjoyed the show myself. I enjoyed the depth that they gave to each character. So we watched the best man and Q and Shelby. They didn't have that much depth to who they were. We just came up in our minds what we thought that and we assumed, and we added to what we thought they were from what they showed. But I really just like the depth that they gave to each character, and how, like you said, Tamika, each character developed even more. So I thought it was, when I looked at the first two episodes, I'm thinking something different. They're on the island. I actually looked up the island. I never, I was wondering, was this a true, real island? But they were on the island. She was about to get married. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, yo, this thing is nice right here. This is, and it was fun, funny, loving. And then I felt like 3 through the rest kind of shifted, not in a good or bad way, just simply just shifted. It took on different storylines, but the important part of that is that's us. When we go on vacation, we having a good time. But when we come home, that's when we dealing with issues. That's when we dealing with life. That's when we got to deal with ourselves. So I thought it was dope. Meek, if you can, I got a question. You mentioned to Murch evolution. What do you think? Which couple do you think evolved the most?
Man,
if any?
I would probably say Merch and I want to call them all by their real name.
Candace.
Merch and Candace. But everyone involved, but Merch in particular, I just really dug how, because I see that I recognize that in Black men, especially Black men that society tends to be like, oh, he is simp, or he's not an alpha male, he's a beta male, so he weak, you know what I mean? And so I felt Merch, like I actually felt him, like, damn, I felt what that brother is feeling, and then to have to go through the whole scene with the white woman stealing, his interaction with the Karen.
Yeah, I felt that one.
And him not being able to really say anything because he did, you know what I mean? And I love the fact that they played out how that anger stood with him. How he was just walking around, balling his fists up, just angry. You know what I mean? Feeling like I can't protect my kids, I can't protect my wife, my boys think I'm soft and weak. You know what I mean? So he's walking around with all this pent up anger. And I'm really glad that they found somewhat healthy way for him to release that. Also gain back, like, I'm that dude. Like, I'm that dude. I'm that dude. Like, stop playing me. Like,
and he didn't
see that too. You know what I mean? And I love how his boys showed up for him. You know what I mean? I also loved how they tapped into Candace. She still had that insecurity with being a stripper and then turning into like a mom and a businesswoman. And I love how they didn't talk about it as being that imposter syndrome, but that's what she was having when she was having to talk about, accept the award for them. She's like, I don't want to be the accept this award. Like, I don't have the degrees, and you know what I mean? So now she's like, I got to get this degree because this is going to validate who I am. Right. You know what I mean? And then once you start going through that process, realizing the bullshit involved with all that. You know what I mean? So it was just it was a lot. They touched on. I felt like they threw everything.
They did. They threw everything on there. The one thing I liked about
this for real, right?
Can I jump in?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Now, just one fast. Merch. The one thing I like about Merch was that he didn't need nobody else to validate him. Like, he went and got into that fighting ring and learned how to box himself. He didn't need his boys, he didn't need his lady, he didn't need anybody else. It was like, yo, this is what I'm doing for me. I just wanted to add that. I think that's important too, and how and I love how he, not that he kept it a secret, but it was something that he did for himself, despite his ribs hurting, despite a bloody nose, bloody lip, and everything. So go ahead, Katie.
I think with Merch too is that when he saw how he was portrayed in the movies, I think that triggered something in him where he felt like all of them kind of saw him in that light. Because when he had it out with Q, when Merch was walking his daughters to school, and Q came to him and was like, yo, you need to show up, and Merch let him have it, and he really was like, this is how y'all see me. That portrayal of me, y'all see me as this weak, this spineless, this, like Tamika was saying, this simp. And I think, it wasn't that he was just mad at Harper's portrayal, but he kind of felt like all of the fellas viewed him weak like that. But then when Tamika was talking about Candy, you remember her background was a stripper. And then, she is in the midst of writing a doctorate for her, writing her dissertation for a PhD. And she's groped by the man that she wants to help her improve her dissertation for a PhD. I think that kind of took her back to her days of being a stripper, where she was so looked at in a sexual way. All that, only thing that people could see was her body. And not really see the substance behind it. I think that kind of just, kind of took her back, to that time in her life where everybody was only invested in her was because she was a sexual object, and when and I felt that coming. I kind of felt that coming from the professor.
I did. I felt it coming too.
Like he kept making it harder and harder for her paper to kind of get through. And then she felt the need to go over there you know, and it just seemed like there was an open door for him to kind of get closer and closer to her, you know. So it just seemed like it you know, that moment took her back to when that's where she was, you know, she was in the past. You know, she was Candy coming to the stage, you know. You know,
I agree. However, I would beg to differ just a little bit as a woman. Unfortunately, that tends to be the case for us all the time. That tends to be the case, whether we were a stripper or not. That tends to be the case all the time. And especially depending on what field you are in, you know what I mean? It's always going to come to a point where it's, you know, I can do this for you, but what can you do for me? And the more attractive you are as a woman, the more difficult that is. It causes women to be hard, like Jordan, right?
Yeah.
So you always have to keep your, you know, your shields up and tap into your masculine energy so that, you know, your feminine energy is not perceived as being you know, easy. I'm easy to hit on, or I'm you know, I'm easy to get that. Because and I understand that because I'm a woman who operates in her feminine energy a lot. I love to flirt and I love everything about being a woman. But just because I flirt with you or I love being a woman, or you know, I like to have the twin dragons out during the summer months, does not mean that, you know, I'm trying to give it up to you. I just enjoy being a woman. You know, and everything in my femininity and everything that comes with being a woman. So I felt Candace, I felt every single one of the characters, you know.
I just wish they handled it a little bit differently. That
With
whole that situation with the professor broke on her. Like when she told Merch, he kind of like showed a little anger, but he never like, yo, I want to go beat this motherfucker's ass. That's what, you know, the new Merch. They should have showed that he's willing to go defend his wife, but then her coming and saying like, no, it's not worth it. You know, let's think about this. Instead of kind of the way they did it, was more or less like they just let it, like they both just let it go without saying anything. You know, it's like come on, something needs to be said.
Yeah, I think Merch had to let go of that anger to take it out on somebody, because you saw he went through so many scenarios of approaching the white woman that had, you know, accused him of being mean to her in the taxi cab. And you saw him go through so many different scenarios of playing out how he was going to deal with her or handle her. You know what I'm saying? And remember, his daughters were there. His daughters were there, and you know, he just
somebody came
even
up to
he
my
couldn't
wife.
feel like he couldn't even protect his daughters at that time, and his daughters even questioned how he handled the situation. You know what I'm saying? So
both of them had different
both of them had different views on how he should have handled it.
What you doing, Dad? And the other one was like, what you think you were supposed to do?
Right,
you know
right.
What I mean?
Because he told and even Parker was a little angry with Robin for taking their daughter to a protest and getting locked up. And he was and they both was just like, y'all could have ended up dead. You know how Merch could have responded or whatever like that at that taxi moment. He felt like he could have been dead if he handled it like that.
He very well could have been in front of him. Like that's the reality of it.
I think in that moment with the professor, I think it was better that she gave that op-ed. I think she wrote an op-ed or something to out him for what he did. You know, because if Merch would have handled it a different way,
I think Merch would have killed that man. I think Merch had so much anger and.
See, but that's not what I'm saying. And where they actually say Merch go and beat the shit out of him. No,
but you wanted more of a reaction.
But you wanted more of a because they gave more reaction about him wanting to punch the white girl. No, like now when something dealing with your spouse, protecting her, show that you really wanted to protect her.
Yeah,
like you wanted to go out, and beat the shit out of the white girl. Let's have that. Like I really wanted. This is my anger where I really want to do it to this dude, but now my wife is talking to me like, look, we can handle this a totally different way. You know, to me, it's like they could have done. There's many scenarios that they could have handled a lot of their situations, and it's just it's just the way I thought they should have handled it. That's all.
Yeah.
And like I always say, it's your own opinion. It's just the way I feel.
One thing, let me just say this really quickly, because y'all know me and Ward, we be like this. Me and Ward will sit up in a corner and bang, bang, bang,
for
bang.
hours.
I know we be agreeing to disagree, but one thing I do love about you, Ward, is we will always agree to disagree.
Mm-hmm.
And it's never no. Me and Ward be like mad as hell, and then once it's over, we be like, "You want something to drink? Yeah,
yeah."
Good. And I love being able to talk with people without having to be like, you have to think like I think.
No
you
arguments.
have to agree with me.
Right.
Like, we can debate all day, but respectfully. You know what I mean?
It's just like I tell everybody on the outside. It's like, look, we can talk, we can have disagreements, we can come together with two totally different thoughts. But if we can sit there and talk on a nice intellectual level, somebody may change their mind.
Yeah.
Somebody, or
at least think about it in a different way.
Look at it in a different light. Yeah.
We walked away from some of our conversations being like, never thought about it like that. Huh.
Yeah. And I think that's important, being able to see the other side, and being open to the other side. With Candace, I wanted to ask you, the one thing I paid attention to was, she took some time in telling Merch and sharing with Merch. I'm wondering on my end, like what I want to know right away. On her end, I thought she was thoughtful about it. She was being real strategic. If I report this, I may not be able to, proceed in this program. She's really thinking strategic on Merch's end, or the husband's end in situations like that. I'm wondering, would the husband, the spouse want to know right away? You know what I mean? Like, this is what happened tonight.
I would think, as you see Ward's response.
Yeah.
Men, y'all gonna want to know right away.
Yeah, we want to know right away. But I'm wondering, I want her to tell me right away. And why? Right? Yeah. And however, why wouldn't women tell me?
Because we're gonna think about how y'all are gonna respond. And any woman that really loves and cares about her husband wants the best for him and is thinking, if I tell him this right here, right now, he gonna go kill that man. You know what I mean? I can't tell him this right here, right now. I need to figure out how I'm gonna feed this to him so that my husband doesn't, or my man don't go off and get killed. You know what I mean? Because you have to think about what you have to lose, right? I'm always thinking about, when I interact with people, I always think about who I'm dealing with, who I'm interacting with. And if you ain't got as much to lose as I got, deuces. But
that's part of not all men are the same. So it's not like you have to always come at them to the point where let's not tell him, let's think about this a little differently, because just coming at me saying something like, oh, this guy touched me, and I may react that one way, like, all right, where the gun at? Or, let's go find him. But or Keith or Kevin might say, well, hold up, what actually happened? Let's think about this. All of us are different. We don't always react exactly the same. And and most women put us in that boat where we have to think for the man that he's gonna go off. Like, no, not all of us do that. But knowing your man, that you can tell him right off the bat and say this happened, or holding it back and trying to figure out a different way to do it. Like, it's just predictable to a lot of these shows. They always do that. All of us men aren't all the same. That's all I'm saying.
I agree with you 100%. And you have to know who your man is. That's like you got to know who your friends is, right?
Right.
So my friends know me in my group. It don't matter what circle group I am. If you call me, then it's about, like, don't call me on some old rah 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 rah. I don't want to talk. If you
it's about to go down, it's about to go down.
It's going down. If I show up, it's going down. Like, don't call me, because I'm not the friend that's gonna say, let's pray. I'm gonna be like, what we doing? What's up? So it's the same thing with your man, right? So you have to know who your partner is. Same thing with your wife. You know what I mean? Or your girlfriend. You got to know who you're dealing with. But I do think when a woman loves someone, even her friends, but if when she loves her man, she's always going to have his best interest at heart. I don't think I don't think we mean to be, and not, let me not speak for all women because I don't know, but when it comes to me, so let me speak about the men that I love in my life, whether it's my brother, my son, my husband, whomever that may be. I'm always thinking about what's best for you guys, because I know what y'all face. I know how a situation can turn left. Like, I know. So I am thinking, not trying to think for you, but just thinking what's the best for you. And I think that's a difference.
Right. There's been times, that my wife has come to me and said, certain things have happened to her either in family or on the job. And, every man goes through those phases of getting angry, those phases of, just wanting to, either hurt somebody, but how am I going to protect her from this happening again? And how I'm going to deal with this that's happened right now. But the thing that she said to me was, no, I don't want you to say anything. All right. I don't want you to respond, because, I do want the smoke at times, I will deal with the smoke, but I do know that I have a lot to lose. I have a lot that I have to, that's at risk,
considering it.
and not being physical, but just with my words. A lot of times you don't lose things because you want to act out physically, but you can lose and damage things even more just by the words that you say. You can make matters worse. So, she said to me, no, I don't want you to do anything. Let's just, I know how to handle it. Well, I want you to tell me how are you and I going to handle it, and just keep me abreast the whole way, to make sure that there is some type of penalty or consequence, because this can't happen again. You know what I'm saying? So, there are things that I have been protected from, and I'm sure, like, women don't always tell their partners things that have happened to them. Some things they've kept it to themselves, and have managed or strategized how I'm going to resolve it on my own. The same with dudes. We don't always come out and say this has happened to me. But women have the tendency to, sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. And that's more so to protect, from us from worrying about it or even putting some things at risk. So, I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that, so.
Yeah. Kevin,
but we need to really deal with Harper.
Yeah, let's get to that.
I got a question.
Good, let's get to that.
I got a question, because Harper and Jordan got on my damn nerves. They've been getting on my nerves since the first one. But I just want to hear y'all, the fellas, give me some feedback on Harper, because Harper was a trip, and so was Jordan. And I love the fact that Shelby always called Jordan out on her shit as it related to her and Harper and this little damn dance that they did over the 20-something years. See, Robin should have that shit put a long time ago. But we're gonna talk about how I feel about Robin anyway. But can we talk about Harper and his messiness and this damn dance he had going on with Jordan for 20-something years?
I thought Harper
he was messy.
Go ahead.
He was just a mess.
He definitely was. I wasn't feeling Harper. I wasn't feeling him in how his messiness. Even when it came to both books, we go to the second one, Best Man Holiday, on his iPad, having those, writing that book, the second book on the second one. Then the story, like his approach to Lance, just wanting to tell Lance, like, yo, this is what I got planned. Like, yo, that's your man. Go tell him. Like, you shouldn't have to have anyone encouraging you to tell your brother this is what's going down. And this is outside of the stuff with Jordan. This is just his messiness from the first one, the second one to the third one, and then wallowing. It was this thing that he would do with his lips, where it was like a uh-oh, and he'll make this whistle with his lips just like that. And I'm like, yeah, because you done messed up again. and he kept doing it. And I'm like, dog, like, come on, man. Like, you gotta, at some point, that selfishness, you got a daughter, you got a wife, you got some people that you call your brothers and your friends. I didn't like his messiness. Then with Jordan, those private walks, those secret conversations.
None of it.
Yeah, those secret conversations to me, then in that last one when they were undoing the rubber bands, like he was really pushing that, undoing the rubber bands to see what the note said. And for me, it's like, dog, like, nah, y'all already on the rocks. Yeah, let it go. Let it go. Jordan was ready to let it go.
Both of them.
Yeah,
both of them.
It was both of them because Jordan ass knew better. She kept talking about let's go for a walk, and she was sitting there all smiling every time he showed up. You know what I mean? Like, and not that she owes Robin anything, because Robin wasn't part of their, their
original clique.
Right.
Their original clique. So I get that. However, once Robin became that man's wife. Come on, Jordan. Stop. Yeah. That's why I love every time Shelby will call her out on, come on, Jordan. And you don't want him. Truth of the matter is you don't really want him. But you
what is that?
Wanted.
What is that though? What is that when a woman does that?
I think it was
she was curious.
What'd you say?
She already had him though.
Yeah,
she
they never hooked up.
They always got intercepted.
It's always got close, but no cigar.
I think she just liked the fact that she could dangle. Like it was like, I got this, power over him. And I can always dangle that carrot in front of him. And he made her feel wanted, even though she didn't want him.
So she's just as much an asshole than he is.
Yes, both of them were assholes. Absolutely. I didn't like what Jordan did. And that this last movie, I was over Jordan. I was just like,
well, the way she walked out that building with that red suit on, I don't know if I'm gonna say I was fully over her, like the red pantsuit. I don't know if
I don't know if we ever going to be fully over that, but no.
Yeah.
Go ahead, KD.
I think with Harper, with the unfinished business book being moved into the big screen. That I don't know if I was in that position, if I would have done that on screen, because I just remember Lance dangling me over the balcony.
Ain't no way in hell I would have brought that damn book back up. Like, as much drama as
remember, Tamika, do you remember? You remember when Lance was reading the book in the bathroom and the light turned red? Yes, and all he did was see Harper and his wife.
Talk about making it a movie,
and then to put that on the screen. You know what I'm saying? And that right there, I don't, and especially was at a point now, his wife had died. How can you tastefully? I think that was just in bad taste to do that. And if I was Lance, I would not have approved of it. I wouldn't have given my blessings.
He was still mourning.
He was mourning.
He was having a good time mourning.
I'm really glad he didn't catch an STD. I hope he made it out alive and he, get something he can't get a shot for, because he was just out here. And I love the fact that he was just like, sometimes. I just love the fact that he was just so open and honest. No, not really. I was like, poor Lance gonna get an STD. He gonna end up getting AIDS before he get off that damn island. Like,
I was hoping he didn't. That's my man.
Yeah,
I was hoping Lance didn't. I'm like, man, it's crazy. Speaking of Lance, because and I forget the lady's name, because you want to talk about how she grabbed that brother's attention.
Ooh, she did.
The island concierge, the concierge lady.
My gosh.
Yeah.
She snatched that nigga's attention.
She snatched his attention.
Snatched his whole soul. I liked her. I did. I liked her.
I liked how Lance was going through the process of trying to find his purpose. He tried to relive the past, get back on the gridiron, but that didn't work. You know what I'm saying? I think sometimes we do that. We try to relive the past. We try to capture our glory days.
Yep.
Instead of leaving it behind. It was good when it lasted. Now what's my next chapter in life? And he really needed help kind of finding out what his next chapter in life was going to be. It didn't happen until he got hurt.
Right.
That he
but I
realized
like that out too. Like you said, I like I was really glad that they didn't leave him playing football, because I was just like, no.
It's more to him than football.
Like, so I appreciated that.
Yeah. So that closed that chapter on him, and he was able to kind of see, Like it was coaching, it was mentoring, it was trying to get these other young guys into gear. You know, those things that he was paying money for his son to receive, he could have been doing that all the time. You know, building his skills and mentoring him. And he was doing a little bit of that, but now he saw his calling to be on the sidelines to help with the coaching. So y'all want to go ahead.
I know this ain't a question for the fellas. So for the ladies that are tuning in, how y'all feel? How they gonna make Jordan's love interest Tasha's ex-lawyer from Ghost?
I know.
Else shocked and appalled as I was.
I hated that, Tamika.
I was like, that's who they gonna make Jordan.
I know.
And I don't mean to sound.
Tamika, who did you want? Who did you want to play that? Who could have played that part better?
Ain't this like fiction? Like this shit don't happen in real life.
I know, but
why are we getting all up in arms over who the hell is the
Tamika? I wanted James St. Patrick to appear and put him back in the trunk of the car and kill him.
It's so funny because you know how some people get typecast into a character. He's always going to be that character for me. So it's just like
he's a shady dude, just a shady.
We wouldn't even let him be a new character.
Yeah, but are you happy that he was a shady ass dude again?
He was shady then.
Oh man!
That part they could have left that out.
Wait, but can y'all tell me something? All right, this is one for the fellas. I need to know. So I like the dude that was her little love interest on the island. Remember? And she was trying to like give him something that night, right? And he was just like, I think I might be a little bit too intense for you. And then he came over and he whispered in her ear. But they never told us what he said. He said, y'all.
Here's the thing.
Let's sit back over there.
Hey, if I gave you my energy in the beginning and you weren't like that, why should I keep giving it to you?
But what did he say in her ear?
I'm trying to remember that part.
You
don't remember that?
After they had the
he probably said, "Remember that song by R. Kelly, Legs Shaking." He probably said, "I'm hit you."
It was after they had the ceremony where they had the shrooms. I don't know if it was shrooms that drank that. And then after that, him and Jordan had a private conversation.
And she basically was like,
okay, the dark-skinned dude. The dark-skinned dude.
Dark-skinned dude. Some daddy, like, what's up? And he said, I would love to enter to your physical. He was like, but I fear I might be too intense for you. And
But she agreed.
And let me tell you something, as a woman of a particular age, I understood when she was like, you can go and sit back over there, go on. But I was like, what could he have possibly said to her?
Well, dealing with the things of those natures and the way the writers like to add certain things in there. He probably wanted to bring another dude in there.
Oh Lord Jesus, listen.
She probably just was like, listen, I got only one good entry right here. You ain't listen.
That tickled me though. So.
Speaking of that, and we touched on it a little bit earlier. I saw online after that, we just got finished talking about Lance. The one thing I did appreciate, I could honestly say I appreciated about Lance and how he was coping, managing with learning that his son was non-binary.
Yes.
And I love the fact that he really tried to understand. Like when he was sitting at the friend's home and he was tearing the pronouns up, literally messing the pronouns up, just the simple fact that he was trying to get it right. I loved it. Like he was trying to get it right. He corrected himself, because it's a lot of men our age, when we talk about, the stories that were told, that just don't know. And I love the fact that, Lance was an example of that. But his attempt to try, to know and even get a better understanding. I love that part. When he was,
but I thought his response, I thought that they did a really good job with his response as a black man. I absolutely could see black men responding. But let me tell y'all what really tickled me when they was all on the phone and Q was like, what's non-bendering? Yo,
non-bindering.
He was like, what is this non-bendering?
But that's true.
But that's true. Like, that's true. Like, he knows.
I'm personally like I'm with that whole thing because I'm still stuck on this. Binary are numbers, so you're not numbers. So to me, this whole thing is they're just fucking confused. Period. In my eyes. With this, well, the thing is, but hold up, I want to hit touch on this before we. I don't like how they handle it with Lance, where he was always the last to know. Mm-hmm. It's like, because in that situation, now granted, if I was in there and I found out my son was not my son, yes, I would be very angry. But the biggest,
but he's still your son.
But he's still my son. That's going to be without question. Mm-hmm. Where my son is, I'm still going to love you no matter what. You're still going to have my unconditional love. Now, I may not accept, I'm going to have to accept it, but it's not. It's not like I really have to embrace that lifestyle, that culture, whatever, because that's not my lifestyle, not my culture. Mm-hmm. So I don't feel as though I really have to embrace it. But I feel as though the way they should have handled it with Lance was he actually expressed himself being more pissed off that he had to learn it from them hiding it from him, and not his son actually come and be like, yo, Dad, I really need to talk to you. Or even his friends telling LJ, like, look, man, you need to go talk to your dad.
They
not
did,
let's hide.
They did.
And that's Jordan did it early.
I think the failure was on Jordan. I think the failure was on Jordan initially, because Jordan knew about it initially when he showed up to work.
Right.
Dressed, dressed the way he was. And it was at that point she should have tried or made an attempt to cultivate some dialogue between him and his father, knowing how masculine his father is and how this would really, not go well with him if he didn't find out in a more appropriate way than posting it on social media. You know what I'm saying? And knowing how sensitive the issue is, that LJ could be suicidal, if this doesn't go, there's so many things. I just think that the onus was on Jordan initially to try and cultivate a good way to support LJ in telling his father.
I disagree.
Come on. Okay. Okay.
I do not think
that's fine. I got two disagrees. Okay.
No. I do not think that the onus was on Jordan to cultivate or facilitate that discussion. I was hoping that none of them told, because that wasn't their story or their truth to tell. Absolutely. It really had to come from LJ, whatever way they decided that they were going to do it. Now, for a lot of people, right? It's the same reason he posted that video, for the same reason that people would go on like Jerry Springer and tell their business, because for whatever reason, it's easier to do something, in this internet world or in front of a whole bunch of strangers than it is to be intimate one-on-one and tell somebody and speak your truth, right? And Lance is such an alpha male, and you add super Christian with that as well. That was hard for LJ to LJ TJ. I'm too
LJ.
shy.
LJ, you're right.
That was a difficult conversation. Even when he tried to have the conversation, Lance was like, "What you talking about? You better go on out there and play some football. What the hell is you talking about?" You know what I mean? So I don't think the onus was on anyone. I think that his entire circle did the best that they could to support the son. To support them in their coming out experience. And I think that that's all they could. I don't think Jordan or Q as a godparents had any onus in cultivating or facilitating a discussion. That was on LJ.
Yeah, I 100% feel the same way. That she was godmom, and she supported him, and he it seemed as if he found her to be a safe place, You know what I mean? Where he can come. I'm sorry, see, they can come and they can come and dress the way they want to dress.
Multiple of them?
No, that's
I just messed up.
That's multiple, man. That's what I can't. This is why I can't understand it. Is you're taking vocabulary and totally changing shit.
Them, English vocabulary. English vocabulary ain't perfect.
You're right, but come on now. That's something that you really can't change the meaning of.
Yeah.
So that just means plural of you.
They are them, meaning, I'm not he or she though. That's the main thing with non-binary. I'm not he or she. I'm not subscribing to male or female energy. It's not about sexuality. It's about how they identify.
Mm-hmm.
Because somebody can be non-binary and not be gay.
Mm-hmm. All right.
That's like, you can be.
And that's what LJ said. Yeah,
and he said that. He said that.
Yeah, you can be.
But wait a minute. Yeah. But you were identifying with dressing up like a woman, so you're identifying as some type of sexuality.
Hold on, word. We actually do it all the time. Come on, Dr. Z. We sometimes say they when we don't know someone's name. That's a good example.
Whatever.
What? That was an excellent example. That was an
great example.
Go to sleep. Go to sleep.
I think one of the non-binary people that we celebrated was Prince.
Oh my God! I thought about Prince and Lenny Kravitz.
Yeah, Prince.
How was Prince non-binary?
He had a record.
But he
wore heels. He wore makeup. He wore women's clothes. He had an album with an androgynous symbol.
I thought LJ was fine. He was sexy self.
Yeah. Prince was the same
way.
Prince
was absolutely non-binary. Prince was so non-binary. He didn't even want to go by a name. He
was a symbol.
That was different.
Right. Absolutely.
He changed his name to the artist because of
artist. It was a symbol.
Because he wanted to get away from being known as Prince because he didn't want to make Warner Brothers any more money under that name.
It was deeper than that.
That's what that was.
Deeper than that. It had to.
The artist.
It really had to focus on.
It was deeper than that. Yeah. But the point still remains. He changed his name to a symbol because that's what he wanted to be identified as. Yes. It's no different than when non-binary people say, "I do not identify as she or he."
Y'all, that ain't it.
But it's not saying that Prince is gay. It's not saying that Prince was gay.
Right. He wasn't.
We saw Prince with beautiful women. We never saw him. I never saw him.
And non-binary is not a man. Gay.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. It does not mean that he was gay. Mm-hmm. He was non-binary, meaning that he did not want to subscribe to male energy or female energy. And he was ahead of all these the system that's out now, the non-binary fluid and all those other terms. He was already.
We talking about in the 90s.
Think about it. If y'all think about and go back to the 80s, there were so many non-binary artists during that time. However, it was dangerous to even identify as gay during that time. But think about it, David Bowie. I mean, think about white, black. How many non-binary artists there were?
David Bowie,
very fluid in how they identified in their sexuality. It's not new. It's just
no, it's not.
It's not new
because we had Grace Jones, and then we had
Grace Jones is like,
and then the other one that ended up killing themselves. I can't remember.
You can't say himself.
But
who?
Itself. You want me to say it that way?
Themselves.
Whatever. It was a disc. He was real big in the disco. Sylvester.
Oh yeah, Sylvester died of AIDS.
Yeah,
was it?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
He used to go to the Hawkins Church. Walter Hawkins had a church in LA.
Freddie Mercury.
Okay.
And, we did have all that back in the day.
Really good documentary on Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was so sad, but it was so good. Okay, we all over the place. Back.
No, so my question when it comes to that, I was on man, I was just reading some comments and some tweets, and one of the things that that came up was, when it came to the Fresh Prince, when it came to this, is it a thing when it comes to our culture in movies and TV that agenda when it comes to sexuality? Do y'all feel like it's pushed in TV, or do you feel like it's pushed in movies?
I feel
when
like
it comes to black people.
Yeah, when it comes to sexuality, when it comes to the LGBTQ community, when it comes to sexuality, I was reading something, I think it was the other day, and they were talking about the Fresh Prince, how that the reboot of the Fresh Prince,
Oh,
and then
with the baby girl.
yeah, with the young girl,
okay,
the little sister, and even the Best Man final chapters. What's your thought on that? In totality, Tamika, I know you catch your shows. You catch your shows.
So let me say, I don't think that there is a hidden agenda to emasculate the man.
Okay.
And I don't think it is being pushed. If I'm going to be really honest with you, and this is going to be an unpopular belief, I think that one of the reasons that it's in a lot of our different films and TV shows, one, because a lot of those people who are creating and writing are part of the LGBTQ community, and finally are like, I would like our voices to be heard, and I would like for us to be seen. And then, if we're going to be very honest, as taboo as the homosexuality is in the Black community, no one is more accepting and loving than Black people. And that's just
true.
The culture. As a culture, we are
forgiving to that.
Like, and that's part of who we are as a people. So of course you're going to see it more so in things that we create, because we come from a forgiving and accepting place. And that's just my...
Well, here's a question about that too. Like, do you actually think that's what we really create? Just like with we don't own the studios, and we don't own the networks and all that stuff. We don't own all these production companies, so we have to actually write what they like to put out. They'll change our words, just like, hey, you can go back to Good Times when Thelma wanted to write her play. She wanted to write it her way, but because of I always do stuff like that. So dude wanted, they wanted to put her play on, but it's like, no, how about we change this? And how about we change her to do this, to make it their way to express their feelings, but use our talent.
I think that members of the LGBTQ community, African American community, are being portrayed in a more authentic way now than in the past. And I think that is as a result of having people of color who are a part of the LGBTQ community sitting at the table, right? Yeah. So now you're not just seeing... So back in the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s, there was only one representation of what gay looked like. It was the flamboyant, pumping their fingers, what I mean? Like on In Living Color, when they used to have them doing the,
hated it.
You hated it. Think about it. That was how
Men on Film.
Men on Film. That is how they were always portrayed during that time. I think having people from the community actually sitting at the tables as producers and as writers, now you're getting a more authentic look. And just like Black people aren't a monolith, neither are gay people or anyone from the LGBTQ community. They are not a monolith. Everyone is different, and everyone, they're just different. And like Andy said, these are stories that are in our communities, right?
I see, but personally, that's important. Don't like it. I don't like it as much because it's like, for how long has just the Black community by ourselves been fighting for rights and fighting for just our injustices? but yet all these groups come up behind us, piggyback on our plight, and but yet they get everything they want. They get all the recognition. They get all these all the to put in the light and say and give the praise and give and giving uh um rights and just like the LGBTQ, well, the alphabet. I can't. I get tongue tied just like you. So I'm just going to say the alphabets because it's like
tore that down.
I know. Hey, whatever, man.
Go ahead.
They, what I mean? It's like, okay, all right. So we got the pandemic. They started calling, the Asians started getting beat up because they said, oh, it came from over in China. So now they passed a law you can't beat up the Asians because now it's a hate crime.
Mm-hmm.
Now they have a law that you can't beat up the LGBTQ community is hate crime.
Good job.
But yet there's no real hate crime for us. There's really no good civil rights for us because it has to be all inclusive. This is why I think it's a big agenda that the LGBTQ community is now being such a big rise in all that.
I don't think though. I think just because
sweating like
I was going to ask Mr. Chester if he could bring you a towel or something, but I think
I'm about to put my hair in a ponytail. Work got me over here sweating. Go ahead.
No, but I think just because
I'm gonna tell you why.
There's some rights.
I want jumping after you. I know.
Now you could. I think just because there's other rights for other people, you're right. We've been having this fight for such a long time, but it doesn't give us that sense of hatred or jealousy or anything towards the other communities just because they now have a right.
No, I never said we had hatred or anything.
No, not hatred.
No.
And I know you
were. Tamika said, we are such a forgiving people,
absolutely,
such a loving people that goes over a lot of our heads. But sometimes that's a problem for us. We shouldn't always be that way.
But that doesn't have anything to do with them having rights.
Oh, I understand this.
Can I jump in now?
So,
can I jump in? All right, I'm gonna go ahead. Go ahead, kid. I'm gonna defer to you, and then I hope I remember what I was saying.
I'll be sweet and short. I'm a man of few words. But I do think that we do have legislation and law that needs to be in place, for all of the atrocities against Black people. But again, I don't think that in and of itself, the political fight for legislation for Black people takes away the fact that the community, the LGBTQ community, is real in our Black community, and the representation of it on television and film is just the way it's going to be, because they have been in our community, they have been in our families. Okay, they've been part of our families for decades. All right, we have loved ones in our family who assign to non-binary and LGBTQ, and we can't love them any less. And just because they are being portrayed now more heavily in TV and in film, it doesn't take away the fact that we still got to fight for legislation for Black people. Two different types of 100%. Issues that are going on there. I like Lena Waithe. I just want to say I like Lena Waithe, and she is the producer of The Chi.
What? I like Lena Waithe too. She dope as hell.
Now, KD, you were saying something about The Chi.
Yeah. I didn't know what y'all was talking about. In 2020. So Lena Waithe is the producer of The Chi, and I do like how she portrays Kevin's parents, the mom, his parents, and that family. In the job that I work, and I run into that type of family all of the time, and they provide for their families, and they are, it's nothing different. About them whatsoever, so, but I love the portrayal that Lena Waithe.
Hold on, y'all. Keep talking. I'll be right back.
Okay. All right. I just love the portrayal that Lena Waithe gives them that family in the shy. But again, I just think the representation is more increasingly these days because it has been in our community and in a lot of our families. Some we just brushed under the rug and ignored it. In our churches, in our families. I had a problem with the curriculum that my son was receiving that had some of his reading was about the LG community. And I was a little upset about it because they didn't inform me that this was going to be part of the curriculum. All right. I would be a little bit more accepting of it. And we voiced our concerns at a parent advocacy meeting. We voiced our concerns that, you should inform us not of just part of the curriculum, but the entire curriculum,
So
because that way it just looks like you're trying to hide something from me, because my son is going to come home with questions that can't really be answered in a classroom setting. So we had to stress to the school that we have to work hand in hand. We recognize that the LG community, that's going to have to be part of his learning along with other things. It's just making that curriculum transparent, the entire thing to us, so that I can help my son learn like the school, like the information that the school is going to give him. So it's just working cooperatively, with one another. I'm not saying that I don't want my son to learn about it, but I need to know what you're giving my son so I can help the school, help my son process that information in the right way, because these are people that he's going to go to school with, that he's going to have friends with and things of that nature. So, yeah, that's all.
All right, Tamika, I got a question for you, Tamika, because since you're in education, is it true? Because I heard that they made it now that they have to, put in LGBTQ history into the curriculum. New Jersey's made it a law now that they have to institute that.
I don't know that to be true, and I don't want to answer
Okay.
I don't want to answer that and say yes or no, because I honestly don't know, and it takes a while for something to actually become a law.
Right.
So there may be legislation that has been written, and then but I don't know where that is at. So I don't want to misinform anyone in any way, and I don't want anyone saying Tamika Chester of the New Jersey Department of Education said.
Right.
No. But I do want to go back to your original question and the original point that you made. And you said something to the point of, why, Asian people, when something happened to the Asians, they came up and then there was a law, right? Created. And then, you spoke about LGBTQ and, when something goes down, something happens. But we, as the Black community, have been fighting for just basic civil rights for so long and nothing happens. And I wanted to respect that. Let me tell you why. It has a lot to do with money and power and politics, period. So people in the LGBTQ community, those who are out and unseen, got a lot of power and a lot of money. So when something happens, they galvanize their people, their power, and their money to make something happen. Same thing with the Asian community. Where we fall at, we do not galvanize and all work together, nor do we put together our money to create power. You know what I mean? In our community, unfortunately, everyone is fighting for a seat at the table. And then when they get that seat at the table, they're not bringing other people with them. They're fighting to keep everyone else off the table. They want to be the HNIC.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And unfortunately, and I see this happen all the time in all different communities, we do not know how to work together.
Absolutely.
Because we're always fighting. It's that crabs in a barrel. That is really real. I see it happening all the time. All the time in education, in community mobilization. Everybody wants to be the big man on top. Everybody wants to say they were the ones who were responsible for doing X, Y, and Z, as opposed to we're going to come together, work together for the good of whatever the cause may be. and let whomever gets the praise out of it, let them get the praise. Nah, we be working from ego. See, black people be working from ego. Everybody wants somebody to know that they had a part in doing whatever it was that had to be done, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the fact. People don't like to, people often say I move in silence as they post pictures of everything that they're doing.
Right.
You know,
if that ain't the truth.
Let me tell you something. I'm gonna put that. I move in silence. I speak people's names in places that they don't even know I mentioned their name, but because I mentioned their name, they got a grant or they got a job. I never said nothing. I don't need the glory. I just move and do what needs to be done for the good of the whole. And if we learned how to do that as a people, then when shit went down, those things would start happening because it's all about money and power and politics. That's it. If you ain't got the money,
you're right.
You get the money, then you get the power. You ain't got none of that.
Then you get that respect.
See, that's just like
and that's it right there.
Like Tamika Champagne put up there about the 22 lynching bill.
Right.
If you read that bill, it ain't got nothing to do with us. It's such a generalized bill that has nothing to do with the actual lynching of our people. Just like with the Asians, it actually spelled out Asians and Pacific Islanders. The LGBTQ actually said that. Like even when you go back and read the Civil Rights Bill, it has nothing about black people in there.
Because who was sitting at the table writing the bill?
White people.
Exactly.
I know.
Let's transition a little bit to one of the things my brother put in.
Making me think hard at the 2 shots. I ain't even got another shot.
2 shots.
That's it. Oh, come on.
There was 2 double shots. I done sip 2 double shots listening to y'all.
Let's transition. Gosh.
Are we going back?
No, just now. We're going right back to the movie where
that's what I'm saying. Go back to the movie because we went way left.
And it's all good.
Amen.
It's all good, but it's good stuff. I want to talk about Harper and Robin. I want to talk about Harper and Robin and their journey. We talked about how Harper and Jordan, throughout, and how Harper was messy, but Harper and his wife Robin through their journey, and then towards the end, how things shifted. When she was on an island, and there was her passion. There was some fire behind the passion, something ignited for her. And then she started to seek out cooking even more, and really wanting to get into that field of cooking, and whatever that looked like for her, and then her journey started, and her story started developing more, and ultimately she decided, as they got divorced, to take her daughter to Ghana. I wanted to get your thoughts on that, and from male perspective, Kevin had asked us last week, it's who's the true what did you say, who's the
villain,
who's the real villain? He asked us last week, who's the real villain in this?
Who's the villain?
Yeah, so I wanted to get your thoughts on that, in that move, and do you and does that happen often, where a woman just after things are done, we out? And is there any consideration for that father being able to raise his daughter in that state, in a local state, somewhere close in proximity to where they are?
Yeah, that custody visitation, Tamika, that was really, that's something I kind of see in, the work that I do a lot. But that last episode, like I said, that was like the cherry on top, because a lot of raw emotion came out in that last episode, especially when it had to do not just the divorce proceedings, but then the custody issue. I kind of felt like Robin should have talked to Harper about her desire to live full time and have residential custody of their daughter in Ghana. Instead of it, was something that came up right then and there at the divorce proceedings, you know, because, you know, just fast forwarding to, you know, when the little girl left, I mean, Harper backed off and he relented because he felt like, you know, he saw a lot of Robin in their daughter, you know, that giving spirit. And I think he kind of relented because, you know, he came to the realization that that would be best, you know. But what tortured me was just to see, you know, the bond between the daughter and the father, and how much pain she had to go through because he could not come with her. You know, I kind of felt like they didn't really, neither one of them initially took the child's, how the child would go through that, how the child would be affected by that into consideration, because they had so much bitterness towards each other in that moment. You know, that she was being used in a lot of ways as a pawn, you know, because you know, when he was at the car, he was like, Robin, just stay, just stay, you know. But I really don't think that they really took her feelings, that little girl's feelings, and we see that a lot in custody and visitation stuff, that the child is constantly used as a pawn many times to either get back at the other parent, or to try and use it as leverage, you know, to get whatever the other parent might want. So I just thought that it could have been handled a little bit better by the two adults, for the sake of their little baby girl.
Because they did the typical woman always blindsiding and using the daughter and not giving the guy a time to react to what was going to happen. Like when you at the table, it's like, okay, I'm leaving. It's like, well, wait a minute. So now you got to take the time to, now you got to file some papers in court to try and get them to stay, but it might be too late because she did it, you know, so vindictively that he had no time to react.
I do feel that I would not have blindsided. So as someone who co-parented with my children, I would not have just sprung that on like, oh, and I'm taking them to Ghana. There should have been some conversations, definitely had. However, I would have said, I want to take her to Ghana. And it wasn't that Harper couldn't go. He chose not to go because he was a writer and he really could write from any.
He could.
He could have went if he wanted to, but he didn't want to. He was selfish and he liked having everything convenient for him. So even though he really didn't spend that much time with his family, he was like off writing for months. You know, he was doing all of these things that left Robin feeling insecure, unprotected, uncared for. You know, they in the house, no heat and shit. You know, he off on his writer's retreat. You know what I mean? I feel like, you know, he liked being there when the baby woke up and sometimes make her pancakes when he could. You know, it was very convenient. Like he was conveniently fathering. But when the
I thought that was fucked up.
When the rubber hit the road and it became time for him to be like, make a sacrifice. Because if you really want to be in your child's life, you had the ability to make the sacrifice, right? You could have written from anywhere. That was key. And I really think he used his daughter more so than Robin did. I really feel like, and I don't know, but I really feel like Robin was like, nigga, you ain't here most of the time anyway. What does it matter? You can, you know, I'm not gonna keep her from you. You can see her whenever you want. But you know, for Harper, Harper wanted everything convenient for him. And you know, her not leaving, you know, not going to Ghana would have been convenient for him. I actually agreed with her going to Ghana. I agreed with her having full custody of the child. Not because she was the woman, but because Harper was not there. He was conveniently there for his child and his wife. And she needed to live a full, healthy, happy life as well. She deserved to live a full, happy life as well. And she was going to be the primary caretaker of her child. And she wasn't going to keep that child from him in any way. You know what I mean? And I think that's why he gave up. Like, it wasn't like, oh, it's a no win. I think he really realized, like, I think once again, selfishly, he really realized that I'm about to embark on this whole movie thing. They want me to do another movie thing and another book. You know, you seen at the end, he was able to, you know, went on and got his Pulitzer Surprise and all of that stuff. You know, he did exactly what he wanted to do.
Pulitzer Surprise? You said surprise. You know you did.
and this is a fact. This is a fact. Merch said that he always chooses himself over what is right.
He did. Whoever said that, yes. Yup.
He always said,
I didn't, you know. But I would have handled it differently. I think that Robin played a victim in this. I don't think she was as much of a victim as people think she was. She chose. He showed her who he was every step of the way, and she chose to marry him. She chose to stay with him. She chose to put her and women, people. Let me not just say women. People do this all the time. We make those choices, and then we resent, you know, our partners after we consciously made those choices because we're really mad at ourselves.
Yeah, but didn't she give up a lot of ventures or, you know, things that she wanted to do? So I mean, in that way, she was kind of a victim.
No, she willingly gave them up. She willingly gave them up. She had a choice. I believe you always have a choice.
You know, the one thing that stood out to me was that happens a lot in you know, and I've come across that a lot. You know what I mean, in counseling and talking to couples, married couples over the years, where you have one person who is passionate, motivated, driven about what they have going on, and at some point there's another that their spouse, whether it's the husband or wife, they find their passion, and they are become very tremendously passionate about that thing. And it begins to pull away a little more because the initial person, he or she is so used to or accustomed to what life was like, being able to move around, being able to do what they want, being able to just go and flow. And now this other person has found themselves, you know, and ultimately there becomes some type of, you know, force that happens where they're now there's a combatant force where they're now just fighting, just, you know, going back and forth with one another. And many times divorce is the final say, you know. So I found that story to be so freaking true, to watch their story from the best man to the best man holiday to the best man final chapters, to be able to.
She made it as long as she did.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, when
he just watched, just like what Zudi just said.
Yeah, when he watched her getting that thing, I think that's what I'm. That's
what I'm talking
what part
about.
Was that?
She is kind of a victim when he let the jazz spot go that she really wanted to take, you know, to take under and bring it back. So it's like, yo, you like, were you really that into your writing? No, you really wasn't. You could have made that call and made that happen for her, because you've been, you know, letting her dreams go by the wayside the whole marriage.
Yeah, the whole marriage.
That moment when Zudi said, I really believe at that moment is
that's when she made her decision.
I think that's when she said,
yeah,
I'm not going to be. I think she felt like a victim, and she said, I'm not going to be a victim anymore, and I'm done. Right?
Yeah,
there's always going to be a point when you finally get to that point where you're like, I'm not a victim. Like, I'm not a victim.
Yeah, I ain't gonna let this shit happen.
I'm not gonna let this happen anymore. And that was it for her. That was, he's never gonna change.
Yeah.
So I was happy to see her go.
Yeah, I was happy to see him grow. I just, that part, man, where she, you know, where they could have had that spot. I said, yo, this would be dope.
That broke my heart, though.
It crushed me.
I cussed him so bad, like he was a real person and I knew him in real life. I cussed him real bad. I was
struggling. But that's who he was. That was his character throughout the whole. That was
his character from the whole.
That's who he was.
But you know, but you can look at it at a different way, because he really did say, you know, well, you wanted to do this, we went and did it, and that went by the wayside. You wanted to do this. I mean, but he also, you know, just like you know, you had your kids and they wanted to one maybe play an instrument. They picked it up and then they put it down 2 weeks later. You spent all this money on this damn trumpet, and then now you ain't playing it no more. So it's like that's the kind of things that he may have been getting fed up with, things like that, where she wanted to do a venture, but it didn't pan out.
Yeah.
Then she picked up another venture, it didn't pan out. So it's like,
I thought the things
why
didn't
am I
even
going to keep doing this?
They went too long not communicating. They went too long.
Well, that's true too.
Like they
that
showed too long.
That showed in their relationship that they
went too long.
They
went too long.
It did. Hey, Meek, what else? What's some other takeaways you got from there?
I also from them, or just the best man?
Just the best man.
One of the lighter things that I got from it, again, Shelby and Q were my favorite for the series. Like, I just love.
Yeah, I'm glad they did get together.
I am really glad that they got together, and for me, it was that, there's a pot for every lid, right? As deplorable as we thought Shelby and Q were, they both were like the worst of the worst. But they really loved each other, like hands down.
They did.
Like,
they did.
I love the way that they loved each other, and I love that there was no pretense. They both was just as jacked up. Like they were who they were.
Right.
And I love that about them. They weren't faking. They weren't pretentious. You know what I mean?
And they had each other's back.
They had each other's back. I loved how they
keep your wife's name out my mouth.
I love that. He said that.
I love that line.
That's really love their relationship. And because oftentimes, we'll look at people who are together and be like, how is she with him? Or how is he with her? I would never. Well, you wasn't supposed to ever, because that wasn't a person for you, right?
100%.
But those two fit like this. And I love that it resonated through the screen for me. Like, I believed it. It wasn't even like,
if he had married that other chick.
Oh my God, Zia Moore. I was just like, please don't marry her. Like, please, Q, don't marry. I was so happy when he
but they all knew that wasn't
I was so happy that he didn't, when he went to the airport to go get her, and it was so real. He was like, I'm not gonna get it. Okay, I'm on one knee. I'm not okay, I'm on, like, I just loved everything about their relationship. That it brought me joy. It made me smile. So that was a takeaway, that there's a lid for every pot, and you on the outside don't have to understand it. You don't have to approve it. You know what I mean? Like, so I love that.
And that's the thing I thought about it with Q was like that one, like she gonna take you out of that character that people know you to be. Q, at no point is Q going to any airport to stop anybody from leaving. Q is that one. Oh, all right, I'm gonna go find another one, and we're gonna figure this out. But for Q to go to that airport, humble himself and say, "Look, it is what it is," in front of all these folk on camera. I thought it was dope, man. I thought it was.
And
dope.
I also like how they addressed the whole getting old. Like, so they were all of a particular age, like us, right? And
you keep using that word, me.
I mean, because we're of a particular age. Like, we ain't, we're not, we're of a particular. I mean, shit, we passed the halfway mark. Like, I mean, for real, we're 50.
No, we're a lot of us are past the halfway mark.
Yeah,
most of us, because 50 is not middle age.
Shit, 50, you on the other side.
Our 30s are our middle age, because life expectancy is what, 75?
Yeah, 70, 74,
80. So, you talk about 40 is over the hill now.
Yeah, we on the other side. Like, we're in the
you talking about 65, 70, and half of that is 30. That's some hatch, man. What are you talking about?
But we are in the fall of our lives. So let's just say, if you look at your lives as spring, summer, fall, and winter, we are definitely in that fall area of our lives, right? And I like how they showed how everyone was pushing back a little bit on, wanting to be old. Like, Shelby was me. Like, what the hell? Why am I sweating all the time? Like, and she was
showed that she wanted to be forever young.
Yeah, she wanted to be forever young. But she had to realize, and I love how she said it. She was like, "Fuck it, like this is what it is." Same thing with Q. Like he was like, "I want to drink and I want to smoke," and then he pinched the nerve and thought he was dying again, and realized I'm not going to be able to do this. If I want to be around for a while, I got to accept where I am in life and work from that point. I thought they did a really good job with that. It really gave me happy feels. It gave me black joy.
Yeah, black joy. One last thing before we go. Nia Long made a statement about the Black movies. She had made a statement about, it takes away and it lessens opportunities for Black actors, Black actresses. When you phrase it, Black movies. I think it was about 2 weeks ago. She made that comment. What's your thoughts on that?
I agree with her.
Yeah.
Well, whatever you said, it's like I had just that thought in my head where, why do we put so much emphasis on these shows and analyze them and act like it's our own life, and like, yo, it's fiction. Who cares? It happens.
Because it's
why do we?
It's enjoyable. It's enjoyable.
Okay, yeah, it's enjoyable, but man, I mean, like, man, it's like this really evokes. It really evokes this type of discussion.
It does.
Fiction.
It does.
It does. It does.
Because what's the quote? What did I say? Reality. Oh man, I be needing my people that be helping me finish my sentences.
What, reality and imitates fiction?
Yeah, but or is it
imitates life?
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Art mirrors life. Thank you, Angie. See, my line since it was right there.
That's what that is.
Art mirrors life, and for a lot of us, we see ourselves in a lot of these different. Just let you. That's why I'm really particular about what I watch, because I know how television and movie. I'm a big television and movie person. I be all into the characters.
Yeah, I like them too, but damn,
I have to be careful about what I watch because it still evokes certain emotions in me. I remember this was an ongoing joke. I can't even remember the movie it was. This was during my single days, but I watched some damn movie and I don't remember what it was. And I remember this movie had me so like.
What was that, 80 movie?
It was like in the 90s. Shut up. But shut up. But this movie had me so like got in my head so deep that I went home and broke up with my boyfriend because of the movie.
Now, you broke up with your boyfriend because of the movie.
Because the movie had evoked so much emotion in me.
It does.
And that art imitates life. And sometimes we see ourselves depicted in these characters. And a lot of times you can relate to these characters. I have been binge watching Las Vegas since Friday. This damn television show has brought me so much joy. It's fiction. I don't know. I mean, it's fiction, but it's brought me joy. Sometimes you just gotta lean into the joy war.
And I think with The Best Man, I think it speaks to most of those issues. You're right. Probably every issue, we know someone that has gone through it.
Absolutely.
Or is going through it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not against, having conversations about it, because we know someone that's dealing with real life situations through that story, not just simply through that story that's being told, but that mirrors that story. When you talk about, non-binary, when you talk about, grief, how is he dealing with grief? Well, he chose to deal with grief through women, right. Initially, and everybody deals through grief differently. That was his choice. Friendships, looking at the friendships, look, hey, I love the fact when Harper was going through, them brothers said nothing. Not one word was spoken. Knock on the door. I got the poker table.
Yep.
We coming on
there. No, and the way they just looked at them like.
Yeah, I love it.
Like, no, I can honestly say I felt that scene.
Yeah,
I did feel that scene. Like,
I felt that too.
Like yo, nigga, you ain't gonna get your ass up off that couch.
Yeah.
Like really? No, nigga. This is us now. Get your ass up.
It's important. It's important. Representation matters. It's important that we see. It's funny because one of my favorite series used to be Sex and the City when I was younger, right? Mm-hmm. And that's probably about 25, 30, 20-something years old. Yeah. It's probably more than that. Like, we talking 90s. Like, I love Sex and the City. Like, when Jay-Z be like, she got Carrie Fever on Sunday night. Like, every Sunday night, 9 o'clock. I loved Sex and the City. But it's funny. So 30-something years later, when I watch it, I have a hard time relating to that because I don't see anyone that looks like me. Mm-hmm. But back then, I was all in. I loved it. But now, when I watch it, I'm like, this ain't real life. Like, black people.
So we actually have to see somebody that looks like us to be able to relate to it?
No, not to
No,
relate.
I don't think so.
I related to a lot of what was happening in Sex and the City. However, now watching it and not seeing any black people, I was just like, the fuck? Where's all the black people? Like, there's black people in New York City.
Yeah.
Where are we at? Where are any people of color? Like, I find myself when
but what I'm saying
that does not have a diverse cast, I'll be like,
so why was it relatable then and not now?
I think because I wasn't as conscious and I wasn't as used to seeing us in print ad and in film and stuff like that. So because I wasn't used to seeing us, I did not miss it. I did not notice, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't notice it. I didn't miss it. You figure we grew up in a time where, you know, MTV, it was all white. Remember how we was when Michael Jackson's video finally hit MTV? When you
boy, that was an epic night.
Like, I still remember that. So I think
but here's the thing. This is what I'm trying to say. Just be like, white people go through the same situations we do.
Right.
There are relatable things. So what I'm asking,
not necessarily.
Was it?
Not necessarily. They don't go through the same things.
No. But I'm saying there are situations. But it's like I'm asking, why is it that you could relate to it then? So there was something there that was relatable then, but it's only a non-factor now because of the color of the people that were actually.
Ward, give me a second, Meek.
It's not that I can't relate. It just doesn't resonate with me.
Okay.
It doesn't. Okay. That's it. That's the better. I can definitely relate.
All right.
It doesn't resonate with me.
Okay.
Like it used to, because there's no people of color at all.
Okay.
So merch walking past them white women, merchant that about to get in a taxi cab. No white person is dealing with that. No white person is dealing with that. They may even ask them to come in.
That's not true. Well, that's not true.
Give me a second. I felt merch. I felt merch,
definitely.
Especially when them cops walked up. I felt merch with listening to his daughters, both the daughters on both sides, trying to figure out and listening, looking at those cops. That's something that I can definitely like really draw from and attest to. You know what I'm saying? Him seeing that same lady later on, laughing, having lunch or whatever,
right?
And about 3 or 4 different episodes running through his mind on what he should do, and then the consequence after. I'm sure all of us can feel that and thought about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when we watch some of our, I guess, movies that's catered to our culture, some of those instances come up often, and we feel it a lot more. You know, that's my only point. We feel it so much more versus when we watch other ones. Not saying anything about white movies, white TV shows, nothing about that. But sometimes there's a sense of, you know, all right, I watched his story as a young kid, and his story mirrors mine while I'm watching this TV show. You know what I'm saying? And that I look like that naughty haired little kid that's wearing them same sneaks in 5th grade all year long. And now, you know what I mean, the story plays out. I'm just saying, as a kid. Shut up, Ward.
But wait, I'm sorry, y'all. Where'd Kev go? He just bounced on us?
Yeah, he had to go.
Yeah, he had something to do.
Yeah. Oh, damn. He didn't say bye. I was just like, I thought maybe he had a bad connection. And then I realized
sometimes things come up.
Okay. All right. Y'all understood. I was just like, that the female in me was like, well, where'd he go?
He didn't even say bye.
Actually did.
He did? Oh, shit. I missed it. Bye, Kevin Kev, Professor Kev. That was nice.
Yeah. So any takeaways from the show before we wrap up? Anything y'all want to leave with people?
Nah, that's all I wanted to leave was like, why we take so much
investment
into a damn fictional show.
I got you. Me
personally.
I say lean into the Black joy. Lean into the Black joy. I love the representation. I love us being seen in, many different ways, not just as basketball players, drug dealers, drug addicts, hookers, and mamas. Yeah. No, I love seeing all the diversity. Wait, what did I say earlier, Ward? Pulitzer Prize.
Oh, the Pulitzer Prize.
Yeah, my takeaway is, just lean into the Black joy that is happening.
No, it's always good to see Black people on screen.
Yeah, it is, and represented in so many different ways. Because, like I said, we are not a monolith, and you know, Black people deserve joy and deserve to love and be loved as well. So
yeah. No, I thought it was dope, man.
Bob Marley. One love to be loved.
To be loved.
To be loved. Now I thought it was dope, and the one thing that it was just such a beautiful cast, successful Black people that's dealing with, when you look at Jordan dealing with some of the issues that she was dealing with, had an assistant who was trying to help her out, with her self-care, Merch trying to find his sense of therapy and where he can go to find himself, find his passion. Same thing with Lance, working through his grief, trying to find his second career, and everybody in relationships and how relationships are played out. I'm almost finished.
That's taking care of.
I'm almost finished. Yeah, so I just thought it was a dope series, something that I was looking forward to, something I enjoyed. Meek, I think you said you watched it twice. Did you say you watched it? Yeah,
I did. First time. So I like to watch stuff alone, to be quite honest with you. I don't like watching it like with anyone, because I like to just watch it. And then the second time I watched it with Michael and his sister, I rewatched it with them. That way I can, they want to talk or whatever.
You already saw it. You ain't got to.
I need to watch it the first time by myself, and then the second time.
So it's dope. I appreciate you, Meek, man, just for joining us, man. We ain't nothing but love for you, sis.
Absolutely.
Nothing but love for you, sis. And we hope this is not the last time.
We did so good tonight. Yo, we did really good tonight. Look at that. Look at God. That's because it's our birthdays is coming up and we're in a good place. That's all.
That's what it is.
You'll be extra nice tonight because your birthday coming up and you got the, that's all right. I'll take it. You know what I mean? I'll take it. It's all good. Go way back, like, lumberjacks with the hat to match. So,
yes, sir. Yeah.
I really do love you guys, and I enjoyed being on the fellas, and I love the conversation. And tell Kevin, Kev, and EB, I said, what up?
What up? Definitely. Yes. This is Just Our Thoughts with the fellas and Meek joining us on tonight on Just Our Thoughts. Thank you. Go to all our streaming platforms. Check us out. Check our YouTube out.
Thank you, Zudi.
Great job, everyone. Thanks, Zudi.
Thank you.
Just Our Thoughts with the fellas. We love you. Peace. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.